Welcome to the practice lesson for Unit 3. And we covered a ton of ground in this unit. In fact, you just learned pretty much the most essential tools and concepts in all of After Effects. So now it's time to put what you learned in this unit to practice. Open the exercise files folder. Then twirl open the sample master project folder, or if you've created your own, open that master project folder for the course. Go into the project files. Go to Unit 3, Lesson 10, Practice. You can just double click on the .aep project file to open After Effects. In the project panel, you will see a folder for each of the lessons in Unit 3. If you twirl open one of those folders, you will see they have a comps folder, a footage folder, and if that unit used solid layers or adjustment layers, there'll also be a solids folder. And if you want to just go through the lessons one by one, you can just twirl open a folder, twirl open the comps folder, and there you will see any compositions for that lesson. And to open a composition, all you have to do is simply double click on it. It will open it up down in the timeline, and you can open up as many compositions as you want. Maybe you want to open them all at the same time. Just go into the comps folder, double click. If your interface does not look like mine and you want to follow along exactly, I am using the default workspace, which you can get to by going to Window, Workspace, and choose Default. And if you are using Default and it still looks different, just click on the hamburger menu and choose Reset to save layout. If your cursor does not have the arrow, just click on the selection tool in the top left corner or use the must-know keyboard shortcut V. Moving to the composition panel. You can use the scroll wheel on your mouse to zoom out and zoom in. You can also use the period and the comma keys to do the same. If you press and hold on the spacebar, your cursor temporarily turns into the hand tool until you let go of the spacebar. So pressing the spacebar, you can click on your composition panel, which is really useful, especially when you're zoomed in and you want to navigate around your composition window. And as soon as you let go, you go back to the selection tool. If you are zoomed way in or zoomed way out and you just want to fit the window, if you press the Option or Alt key and then click on the /, so that's right below the question mark, if you tap that, that's going to fit the window. And there's also a little drop down right here in the bottom left corner for different zoom levels. If you just choose Fit up to 200%, that's going to fit it. Moving down to the timeline. Any open compositions, you can just click on the composition name to switch to that timeline. Click to go back. You can rearrange compositions if you just click and drag. You can close compositions by just hovering your cursor, clicking the little X. If you want to reopen it, just go up to the project panel, double click on any composition to open it back up. If you tap the spacebar, you can preview the animations. Tap the spacebar again to stop. To scroll through your timeline, just click and drag the CTI or the playhead. Tap the letter U to reveal all keyframes. Tap U again to hide. To practice animating, the thing that you really want to get comfortable doing is pulling up the transform properties. To manually see all of the transform properties, just twirl open a layer and twirl open transform. But the fast way is to use the keyboard shortcuts, which should become second nature to you. So when you have a layer selected, tap A for anchor point, P for position, S for scale, R for rotation, T for opacity. And to bring up multiple properties at the same time, so A for anchor point, hold the Shift key and then tap the keyboard shortcut. So Shift P for position, Shift S for scale, Shift R for rotation, Shift T for opacity. And if you just have one property open, so if I have P for position and I want to show them all, I can just twirl close the layer, twirl it back open, then you'll see all the properties again. So for this composition, if I drag the CTI, I can see that I animated the opacity. So spacebar to preview, U is going to reveal the keyframes. Clicking on a property name selects all keyframes on that layer, or you can just drag a selection. With the selection made, you can click and drag to move the keyframes. You can always press Command or Control Z to get back. If you move the keyframes further apart, that slows down the animation. Move the keyframes closer together. That speeds up the animation. When you move the keyframes further down the timeline, as you drag the CTI, the animation starts when it reaches that first keyframe. Remember, an animation is when there's changes between the two keyframes. So the animation starts when it reaches that first keyframe and ends, in this case, when it reaches the second keyframe. I'll press Command or Control Z to go back. So for practice, try to recreate this animation. And if you want to keep this original layer, you can press Command or Control D to duplicate the layer. I can tap Enter or Return and maybe just say My Copy, just so you know which one you're working on. Tap U to reveal the keyframes. So now you can see the keyframes from the original layer. That's down below. And now you have your copy. To delete the keyframes, you can click on the stopwatch that will delete the keyframes, or you can select them and tap the delete key. I'll move the CTI to the beginning of the timeline. And if you want to confirm what the value was on this example that I created, just select the keyframe. Now you can see the opacity is set to 0%. So go to your copy layer. Your opacity is already at 0%, or if it was at 100%, all you have to do is just drag it to 0. To add a keyframe, you're just going to click on the stopwatch, move the CTI, and once you've added the first keyframe, any changes that you make is going to automatically add another keyframe. So I know that the example, the opacity is at 100%, so I can click and drag, or I can click and type in 100%, click away. I'll hide the visibility of the example just to make sure that I did it right. Drag the CTI to the beginning, tap the spacebar. You just created an animation. And if you want to loop the playback of your preview, so when you tap the spacebar, it just loops over and over again for this section, wherever your playhead or the CTI is, tap the letter N. That sets the end of the work area. Now when you tap the spacebar, when it gets to the end of the work area, it's just going to loop over and over again. And to release the work area, if you double click anywhere in the work area, that just sends it back. B sets the beginning of a work area. N sets the end. Double clicking releases it. And here's a good practice exercise. So you animated the text on. That's great. Now try animating it off. So I'll move the CTI forward in time. So when you've already added keyframes, to add another one at this current value, instead of clicking on the stopwatch, which would actually delete all the keyframes, you're going to click on this little diamond to the far left. That's going to allow you to add or remove keyframes at that current time. So I'll click the diamond. It adds a keyframe at the 100% opacity. I'll move the CTI forward in time a little bit, then change the value down to 0. I'll move it forward a little bit, tap N to set the work area. I'll tap the spacebar, animates on, animates off. And that's just going to loop over and over again. And if you want to extend the work area a little bit, you can click and drag. To adjust the timing, maybe you want to move it down the timeline a little bit. So it animates on, holds for a little while, and animates off. So if I tap the letter K, that's going to move the CTI forward and jump to the next keyframe. J goes in the reverse direction. And you can also use the arrows where you added the keyframe. So if I click on the little arrow, that's going to move the CTI. It's going to jump it to the next keyframe. I can go in either direction, but J and K is a much faster way. The goal of these practice lessons is not to create great animations. It's really just for you to put in the reps, the practice, get some experience, get comfortable using the interface, and just seeing how things work. And I would just go through lesson by lesson. So go to the project panel, open another lesson, open up the comps folder, double click to open it in the timeline. Go to another one, Double click to open. Tap spacebar to preview, U to reveal keyframes, U to collapse. If this happens to you and you close the compositions down here and the timeline disappears, don't panic. You can either reset the workspace or go to Window, go down towards the bottom, click on timeline to bring it back. One thing that used to happen to me all the time when I started After Effects, and it really confused me, sometimes you accidentally double click on a layer. Double clicking on a layer opens up that layer. And if you look at the top, you see this is labeled layer. To get back to your composition, you can either just click on the composition name, but the layer is still open. If you want to close it, just click the X and that'll bring you back to your composition. Take your time on Unit 3 as this is some of the most fundamental things to learn in After Effects. But once you're feeling good, it's time to move on to the next lesson. And that's where we really start having some fun by adding effects, presets, and more. See you in the next unit.